This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so it seems that Eddie Hearn has a lot of hate, especially in America. Now, I think reason being, he's a smug Englishman. He went over there with a I'm going to conquer you kind of attitude, an arrogant attitude. Even though in America we know they love arrogance. They do. They love confidence even. Okay, Eddie Hearn is very, very confident and very assured of himself. But at the same time, the people that he's going up against are very upset with him. I mean, how many times do we see Bob Arum bleating and raving at Eddie Hearn? How many times do we see Leonard Ellerby going in on Eddie Hearn, how he's going to knock him out? PBC, Al Heyman don't even speak to him. Oscar De La Hoya, who shares the DAZN platform with Eddie Hearn, criticises Eddie Hearn all the time. Why is that? Well, I think a lot of it is down to jealousy. They don't like this Brit coming over and doing the things that they wish that they could do. Oscar De La Hoya, of course, he's going to be very upset with Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn has Canelo. Canelo took Golden Boy to court and walked away a free agent. And he decided to go with Eddie Hearn. That's going to really get up the nose of Golden Boy. Because Golden Boy, let's be honest, who have they really got? Ryan Garcia? Cool, well, who's he fighting? He had the opportunity to fight Devin Haney, but didn't take it. Hamid Munguia. Well, who's he fighting next? Kelly. I mean, this is a guy who had the opportunity to fight for the WBC middleweight world title against Jamal Charlo. Turned it down. Oscar De La Hoya, very, very bitter person. Excellent fighter, but very, very bitter person as a promoter. Okay, people don't really watch his shows. They don't. Okay, when it comes to the PBC side of the street, Leonard Ellerby, Floyd Mayweather's bag carrier. When Floyd Mayweather is happy, Leonard Ellerby is happy. When Floyd Mayweather is upset and maybe have a tear on, Leonard Ellerby will follow suit. I mean, he's an absolute weapon of a human being. That's what it seems. I mean, to become Floyd Mayweather's bag carrier, it must be humiliating enough. But listen, I'm sure he's making enough money out of it. But again, he's a guy who seems to be hating on Eddie Hearn, which surprised me a little bit because, I mean, let's be honest. When you think about promoters in America, you don't think of Leonard Ellerby. Now, Leonard Ellerby, he says how he wants to knock out Eddie Hearn. Listen, I'm sure he's not the only person who wants to do that, okay? But Leonard Ellerby, to say that, I mean, I think he's a little bit too old for that. But when he's saying how Eddie Hearn has wasted $1 billion and has nothing to show for it in America. Well, firstly, Eddie Hearn has not waxed $1 billion. If he did, I'm pretty sure he'd be straight out on his ear already. Okay, but he hasn't spent $1 billion. He was given $1 billion to spend over a 5-year period. Okay, now that's for the US product in itself. But Eddie Hearn, of course, has expanded along with DAZN to go globally. So DAZN is a global app. In how many countries is DAZN available in? How many? A lot. All Leonard Ellerby has to be concerned about is what's going on at Showtime. Maybe even Fox, I don't know, but Showtime seems to be his thing. Showtime is a in-house, as in America-only platform. So what do? Well, you only work with American fighters. And who have you produced? What pay-per-view fighters have you produced? What superstars have you produced? None is the answer. Now, you may want to say Floyd Mayweather. Well, Top Rank made Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather made Floyd Mayweather, okay? But the PBC get like a lot of thanks for that and a lot of praise for that because obviously that's where he ended his career. But Leonard Ellerby, of course, was along for that ride. Now, what? I mean, who have they got? Tank Davis? He's not a pay-per-view fighter. They can put him on pay-per-view. Don't mean he's a pay-per-view fighter. You can put anybody on pay-per-view. Don't mean that they're pay-per-view fighters. The numbers will tell you he's not a superstar. He's not. Now, he could be if he was on free-to-air TV, regular Showtime or regular Fox, maybe. But put him on pay-per-view, he ain't producing the kind of numbers that a Canelo Alvarez would supply. He ain't doing it. Reason being, I think, is because he's fighting who? Rolly Romero. Because he's fighting who? You tell me. He's been fighting absolute trash bags. Let's be honest. Only fighting for WBA regular titles. So who else have they got? Jamal Charlo. Well, Jamal Charlo seems that he only really is willing to risk himself if it's going to be against Canelo. Why? For the payday. And even then, I'm sure there'll be stipulations like there was with Caleb Plant. Well, we'll only fight Canelo if Canelo goes over to the PBC. I mean, that's got to be illegal, surely. But the way around it is to get the fighter to do it rather than the platform. But Jamal, is he going to take on Demetrius Andrade? No. Is he going to take on Chris Eubank Jr.? No. So who exactly is he going to fight? Oh yeah, Majid Salecki. Do me a favour. Stop it now. Move on to who? Errol Spence Jr. Is he a pay-per-view fighter? Again, you can put him on a pay-per-view fighter, but he ain't producing the numbers. He isn't. He needs a good dance partner. He does. He's not a legitimate pay-per-view fighter. I said, you can put anybody on pay-per-view. Anybody. They put Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin on pay-per-view. Would you say that they're pay-per-view fighters? No, of course you wouldn't. And the numbers will surely tell you that they weren't, but it don't mean you can't put them on pay-per-view. And that's exactly what they're doing with Errol Spence Jr. He's not a pay-per-view fighter. He's a guy who's been seemingly avoiding Terence Crawford for the longest time. Talk about side of the street and things like that. Like that should even matter. Well, who else have they got? Who? Wilder? Well, is Wilder going to fight again? Again, Wilder needs a good dance partner. You couldn't put Deontay Wilder versus Charles Martin on there and do great numbers. It ain't going to work. It just isn't going to work. He needs a good dance partner. He will need a good fighter on the opposite side of the ring, like he did with, say, Tyson Fury. Because his numbers flopped with Luis Ortiz in that rematch, didn't they? His numbers weren't great with Tyson Fury, but they were decent enough because of Tyson Fury. So the PBC don't have anybody. Leonard Ellerby doesn't have anybody. So that's why he's bitter with Eddie Hearn. Because Eddie Hearn is making offers to his fighters, offering much more money than what his fighters are getting. And he don't like that. The reason that he don't like that is because he doesn't want his fighters realising that there's more money elsewhere. He doesn't want that. He wants to keep on paying them the minimum that they possibly can. That's why a lot of fighters are on pay-per-view. It is. You get paid what you generate. If you don't generate, you don't get paid very well. If you generate a lot, you'll get paid well. It's a cop-out. It really is. And it seems to go on. Now, of course, we could talk about Frank Warren and his hatred of Eddie Hearn. But again, I mean, that's just a rivalry that's been going on for quite some time with Queensberry and Matchroom. So it's nothing short of a surprise there. But Eddie Hearn has rubbed up a lot of people the wrong way because of the way that he is. And I don't think he means any harm by it. But if you're going to go to somebody else's country using somebody else's product, saying how you're the #1 promoter in the world and you're going to get this person and you're going to get that person, you're going to rub up people the wrong way. I mean, Stephen Espinoza of Showtime, my God, I've never seen somebody. Just check out his Instagram. Sorry, his Twitter account. Just check it out. What does he do? Hate, likes, shares on anything Eddie Hearn that's in a negative light. Why they do that? Because they're mad that they ain't him. They're mad because they don't have the kind of budget that Eddie Hearn has. They're mad because they're not as good as promoters as Eddie Hearn. Not my opinion, fact.